take some extra stuff.
You need all the help you get. I do. Speaking of that.
Our group's got another 500 from advisory council. So that leaves
$2,000.
Yeah, my company does it.
It is.
And he was well worth every penny, so, but I don't want to come down with our
Secretary,
what we collected.
we knew his health was
But have you seen what they've done in Como?
Nobody could actually deal with that.
Like the train.
Yeah.
Seen their work. This is small plant.
We have a lot of really good budget.
It's very detailed.
Very smart process.
But it includes.
They have a lot of positive, like, things to talk about and think about.
that's hard, even if they got
Co-shares too. One dies, $100 to replace one.
I did. You go
So
yourself.
we're talking about $2,000 plus or minus.
And if he's been over there lately, he's pretty bare skinned. Well, there's no weeds, it's just red dirt.
red dirt and whatever that stuff is that they're telling us is taking over our pastures. Oh,
Canola?
I wish it was.
Back seed, what do they call it?
I mean, website.
I know she's more.
Yeah, I noticed that today.
Something.
No?
55.
Canola.
Yeah.
I'm looking at canola.
Okay. Let's talk about that yellow plant that they told us. Oh, I know what you're talking about. They say they're edible, but
Yeah, just about.
they're not grass, they're definitely weeds.
Putting that together. All I know, like, it's fine when I look for it. Okay.
You can pull it out, right, you go, like that third column, all the way down to the bottom.
I think it could be either one of them, depending on where it's at.
There's someone in those little berries.
Oh, right on the ground.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Night shade together.
How are you?
We got to talk about that over here.
My point is,
Oh, yeah.
like, you never like, realize that all the.
Go to that red bar, you know, you already tricked the story. Yeah. Be retired from the power company.
Yeah.
Go down there and keep on going.
That's what
He's dead on it.
that's how I used to do it. I'm like, you know that rose bush, that rose bush, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, if from a lot of Miss Anna's house, yeah, those
We got to talk about that over Christmas, about people, how they just know. They can't tell you, but they know. Like my daughter-in-law, she can tell you what exit you get off to go wherever you want. I can't tell you what I'm the worst thing in my life. I didn't road. It's over that time kind of stars. It's like, I'm like, what? We got the glasses there. Yeah.
I'm usually, I've only been 20 years.
Oh.
That's still decent.
I was
I
born here, but then I wasn't.
Yeah, I guess.
You know where?
Well, I'm a favorite.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here.
Good, how are you? Teachers sent me a note saying how much they enjoyed it. I told them if I know that
Yeah.
this was say 3 years from school.
Probably Jerry Man's somewhere around there. Taking over.
Probably did. I was wondering how y'all got out of this question.
I did, thank you so much for
I got
being able to
public
get it
governance
in.
committee for all Sanford. First thing
I
they
spent a
told
lot
me
of time on that. Don't laugh at me, man, I had to go back to work.
I used to bid on high school.
Thank you, thank you.
I didn't have the same.
I was trying to find
I was on Comer
specific
for a long time.
to your, organization, because, man, I was on the internet and started looking and just.
Well, I can tell you this, you don't want to get it, you can get back in the program, all you gotta do is.
Well, yeah, that is.
Chicken like this.
That was going. I won't have to, I will be.
They want, they got, I just want to know when to bring the bid, I might attend that meeting as a viewer.
Yes. And I'm like, they listen to me, they say what I say. They go down to some different layers. Right there, have a conversation. One of these core jobs. We'll talk about in the course test that happened. And I started telling Bo, I said, I don't know, you said the kids and teachers have to realize that they take in the course test. Schools, Bo said, no. We tell those teachers, keep on, they usually are pretty good at knowing.
They have one class.
Corey, what do you think? This came up today. School's out.
One was looking kind of like me.
No worries.
I kept thinking that dog.
I did.
Felt it, and when I was there today and we went over to light, I guarantee that dog was waiting. She I really, hey, how you doing? Can't go in there.
Good evening, Brother Mike.
Good evening, Chairman.
How are you, sir?
All right, how are you?
And on my get.
That's just the
Changed up any
This is the first time.
Most we could think about here would be 3, and that's just.
I'm just thinking, maybe they can work on it.
It's gonna blow through.
So through the.
Leave it, hang it on the door.
Well, that's.
I've heard that sometimes. There'd be none, and then sometimes there'd be.
Coming to the door.
I remember one time in April, it snowed when I was in high school.
Leave it hanging on the door,
It was
chair,
snow.
and then it started coming through. And this woman has had words with the
Blizzard.
other girls, and she.
Yeah, that was one of them, showing up.
I agree.
I remember that.
Yeah, they kept talking about this.
This
People, this is Georgia, we do not do blizzards.
I remember there were zeros that catch you off guard. There was one in the 70s too, that, well, there was a few days there, because it, I was living on the other struggle to get there, and then when I got there, they said,
And so the sister is the
y'all
one
don't
that.
touch it. That was back when there was no.
There's the interaction started, I was there, and
Whatever.
today, I saw a guy, and I didn't see it coming, I had to turn my back.
When that snow
I'm
came,
telling you,
we
man, I wouldn't even see
Carol,
this for protection.
10 and up direct, Carol,
I heard that song, yes,
stayed,
like somebody might have shot me.
and the girl stayed.
I can't help thinking that that dog had a shot collar.
Next morning, I got up and opened the door to our hotel room, like them old black and white movies where the snow blows in like that. That's what it looked like. And so we took off, coming back, and found a place up to eat. And we got to where they had the shrine that between Conyers and Monroe. And we stayed there for about 6 hours because some buses go down the hill, but they couldn't go back either way.
Oh, I have. I've talked to a couple of them.
Yeah, it was something to do.
Then Woodbridge, all the night in hotel.
Well, this is the one thing now.
Hotel and face anything.
A lot of people that
Blowing 500,
frequent
900 miles
center,
an hour.
not
Look
just
at this clock in
members
that
that
corner, come
volunteer.
home. And it's
And it's nice to just know that, little picnic. George Red Dirt.
Yeah.
We know it well. And look,
Cleared it off, of course.
we do.
Bank on the side.
Flowers I've got done in Comer look great.
Only
I had
place
an
you can sit
opportunity
now.
to stay down there all day on Tuesday at the train depot, and I walked outside a lot and just kind of admired your garden there.
Yeah.
Thank y'all that night. I think the floors here, cold and beautiful. I did a good job. But we like to get rid of it away. That's the big,
So we go.
We want to get tires over up there. We put kerosene in the fuel, big truck. And then we got stuff to do it. The room got stuff. Just in the fuel, they got like, he done jailed up. Go put some
Timing is crucial to getting the presentation by Nelson. So we can get on.
She was talking about you.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Madison County Board of Commissioners Agenda Setting Work Session for January 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. First, we'll start off with the chairman's report. Quickly, the Madison County Pastor Layman Fellowship, the 2025 annual Martin Luther King service sponsored by the Madison County Pastor Layman Fellowship will be held at Wagner Grove Baptist Church, Calvert, Georgia, January 20th, 2025 at 12 noon. As in the past, we invite all citizens and local leaders to join the celebration of the great man. Please come and worship with us, the celebration of the legacy of Dr. King. And all pastors and county officials are asked to arrive by 11:45 so they participate in the march to open the program. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. It's always a good service down there. I enjoy going to that. A couple things I want to mention is for the people who may not be in the room, but we're fixing to go back out with the second round of surveys for Shady Lane. Not Shady Lane. I'm sorry, that's Shady, what's next? Stone Stewart. Yeah, it is Shady Lane, Stone Stewart, Northwood Circle and Griffith Road. There will be surveys. You're going to get some door-to-door guys coming around. There's only about 8 or 10 properties that we wasn't able to make contact with the first time. And this survey is in regards to a water line grant, which is $1 million CDBG grant that we're trying to run a water line down through there. So from a newspaper's perspective, if we can get that in there, just let them know who's coming. That'll probably be happening next week, door to door. I'm just going to take a quick minute to try to brief the public on a situation that has been ongoing now, not necessarily regarding the Board of Commissioners, but regarding the Board of Education. And there's been a lot of stuff going around the past few days about House Bill 581, a lot of misinformation, and I'm afraid that the public is maybe throwing the Board of Education under the bus wrongfully doing so without first doing their homework on that. So I don't want anybody to think me and Dr. Goodrow and this board and that board both get along very well. House Bill 581 is a very complicated bill that, if perceived incorrectly, looks like the Board of Education is trying to impose a new tax or avoid a tax and give a tax credit to taxpayers of Madison County. This will also come before the Board of Commissioners. Unfortunately, the people that's complaining about this hasn't read that bill. It did pass on a referendum back November 5th, I think it was, 66% of the county voted for it, 34% voted against it. The 34% that voted against it read it. The 64% that voted for it probably did not read it. It was, to say lightly, it was a bait and switch. It says homestead exemption, you're going to get something off your tax bill. That does not go for every home. You don't know that, but that's what the bill says. It's only going to hit certain home values. People that has a homestead exemption will get more. People that does not have a homestead exemption is going to pay more. So in reality, if the topic right now is for the Board of Education, you saw it come out in the paper Friday, they ran the ads. We're probably going to run the same ads. Does not mean we're opting out, does not mean we're opting in. We're going to run the ad just to meet the requirements, to give us more time to decide what we're going to do, whether we opt in or opt out. If you opt into this process, I know Madison County Journal has wrote an article about it. Athens Banner Herald wrote an article about it. AJC, I think, wrote an article about it. I think Commissioner Dawson said something about it. It's a very confusing article, and it's not just confusing to Madison County, it's confusing to 159 Georgia counties. I don't want the public to misthink that this Board of Commissioners is trying not to give you a tax break, when inevitably we may be trying to avoid a tax hike. But we don't know yet. We're still running numbers. We have some preliminary numbers. I'm not going public with those yet because we don't have the facts, because the Department of Revenue has not given us the facts. But we are in a very tight deadline of opting in or out of this. So, but whichever one you do, the Board of Commissioners is in a bad position. The Board of Education is in a bad position. I call this the political suicide bill, as Mike Pruitt stated a few months ago. If we opt out of this situation, it's political suicide, because people are going to say you didn't do us right. If we raise your taxes to offset it, it's political suicide, because you say, well, you just give me a break and you took it away from me. Political suicide. So just for the public to understand, what you see on Facebook and what you're reading is not correct information. Those people that, they just seen an article in the newspaper and they took the highlights and they went to Facebook with it, and they have slammed the Board of Education. And honestly, it's undeserving, because had you have done your homework on it, not you in the room, whoever's on Facebook, had you done your homework, you would be thanking your Board of Education today. So that's just a brief statement. That's all I wanted to make on that. But please be respectful to those guys over there, because we're going to be in that same hot seat here in just a few weeks. And I can promise you, we're trying to do what's in the best interest of everybody. So, moving on. Business involving guest groups, multiple visitors. Honey Pond Garden Club.
So, come on guys, we've got the Senior Advisory Council here tonight. Good evening, thank y'all. So I'm not the one that was prepared to speak tonight. She has not arrived, but that would have been Morgan Brosna, our Senior Advisory Council Chair. And so I'm just going to try to speak and let y'all fill in anything I forget. So the Honey Pond Garden Club, which we've got them here tonight representing. If you're not familiar with them, they've done some amazing gardens around, like Comer, and I think it was the Beekeepers Association. They have put together a proposal to add some plants, some beautiful landscape down at the Senior Center, which I don't know if any of y'all have been there lately, but there's really nothing, just some red dirt, but we've got a lot of areas that can use some things like what they're doing. That being said, the budget for this, and it's very detailed out. I think you guys have a copy of it, the itemized estimate. So it would be, we're just being asked to pay for the plants, and the Honey Pond is volunteering all of the information and also follow up, helping the Senior Center understand and learn how to maintain the plants in the future. So that's a real plus, that we can keep these things going and not have to replace them that often. So the estimate was $4,000. We have raised about half of that through several things, plant sponsorships, bingo night, and some company sponsorships. And so And we would not mind to continue to raise the money to get it, but we are under a time crunch, which would be the spring season. We cannot, if we want to do this for this year, we kind of have to give them the funds to go ahead for the plant so that they can get it implemented during the spring season. That'll just help, the longevity and help the plants start out the right way too. So we're asking you guys to see if you can contribute the difference. Can somebody tell me exactly what that is?
I think we asked for $2,000.
And I spoke with Miss Ambria Shipley this morning. I met with her, and she is aware of the project and the partnership, and she supports the project. She thinks it would be great for the seniors. She also confirmed that the council and the center has raised about half, so roughly $2,000 for the project. I spoke with Ms. Payne on where we could pull funding from. So we have some additional funds in the 2024 budget for the senior center when we were missing a director for a little while. So if we decide to use those funds, I would have to have board approval to use wages that weren't used. That's what's written in our ordinance. So that money is there in that department.
Thank you, Christine.
Just as a little background, which hat I'm wearing, I don't know. I've been on the advisory council since before a bunch of y'all were born, 1990-something. And, now y'all know I hang out over there on a regular basis. But if you go back and look at the original, 1994 pictures of the senior center, when that center was built, it was landscape. There was foundation plants and the whole 9 yards. I don't know where, somewhere we fell off the track and somebody decided that Roundup was the best thing that ever had met Madison County, but everything's disappeared in its pile of mud and what the folks call noxious weeds if you're on a pasture. So that's part of where we were looking at it as an advisory council back in the latter part of July. If something needs to be done, put together probably the quickest project we ever did and raised almost $2,000, maybe $1,700 in one night. And, are at that point of what do we do now in order to meet the time frame. Bring it back to where it's not a building that you say, ooh, heck, what happened here?
And we believe that it's foliage that will be sustainable. It's not sod that needs to be pruned or maintained. It's something that the seniors can kind of help take care of and be proud of.
Promised Colonel Gandy that I would not touch him. That's not my thing.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we need to vote on it?
Good job. I don't want you need to vote on this as much as you want to vote on the budget amendment that's coming.
If you want to give them their money now, I do need to vote for to allow the finance director to use wages.
Utilize those.
Okay, that'll be fine. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Curtis, second by Commissioner Adams.
I guess amend that to say that not to exceed $2,000 because that's what they asked for.
Well, I mean, $2,000 is what.
That's fine. I have a motion by Commissioner Curtis, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Shannon?
Yes. Jackie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank y'all.
And bingo night was a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming.
Next time we have one, I
Thank
think
you.
everybody ought to go to bingo night. It's more fun than you.
They do plan, I spoke to Ambria today, they do plan to do another one instead of their murder mystery fundraiser. She said this, the dollar figure, it kind of works out, that bingo will be more successful.
Yeah.
Need a bigger venue, I think.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true. That is true.
All right. So, the next one on the agenda has been stricken from Mr. Morris. Unable to attend, probably going to end up with a special call meeting on that one, gentlemen. So we'll move straight into the public hearing on actions on zoning matters. Mr. Scott.
There's
Thank you, sir.
point of order with Megan Riggs?
That was, for them. She
That was the-
Yeah, for you.
I missed the name. Okay.
All right, put a zoning application for December, public hearing. Number one, John and Tremaine Means are requesting to rezone their 17.14 acres from A1 to A2 to allow a second home to be placed on the property as an accessory dwelling unit for a farm caretaker. The property is located at 267 Sanders Road in Hull, map 30, parcel 11601 in District 3. During the public hearing, there was no one that came forward for or against this particular rezone request. The planning and zoning had one member absent, so the vote was 6-0 to recommend approval.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. or Ms. Means?
I'm here, John.
Hey, John. Are you comfortable with that presentation, or is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, don't know what I don't know right now. I'm glad to answer your questions, so.
All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of this motion? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that this request be approved. Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner May and a second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner May?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Motion carries, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good to see you guys. It's now recognized.
Yeah, good to see you.
All right, number two, Justin and Megan Harrison are requesting a dual rezone for the 5.8 acres from A2 to R1/AR. They're requesting to rezone 1.5 acre portion from A2 to R1 to split and give to her parents for a home site. They are requesting to rezone the remaining 4.3 acres from A2 to AR to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulations. Property is located at 531 Sawdust Road in Hull, map 17, parcel 124, District 1. During the public hearing, no one came forward for or against this particular rezone request. The Planning and Zoning Board recommends to the Board of Commissioners with a vote to 5-4, 1 against.
Thank you, sir. Mr. and Ms. Harrison? All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion this request be approved this study.
Motion by Commissioner Adams, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kirk. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none. Commissioner Kirk?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Number three is Steve Williams is requesting a dual rezone for his 6.87 acres from A2 to R1/AR. He is requesting to rezone a 1.5 acre portion from A2 to R1 to split and sell, and is requesting to rezone the remaining 5.37 acres from A2 to AR to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulations to retain. The property is located at 463 McGinnis Chandler Road in Commerce on map 1, parcel 47 in District 1. It's to be noted that Mr. Williams was not in attendance for the first public hearing. The public hearing was open. No one came forward for or against the particular rezone request, and by our own bylaws, we can vote whether or not. The board recommends to the Board of Commissioners by a vote of 4-2 for approval.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Williams?
application withdrawn.
No, the amendment says, just like the Planning and Zoning Commission, the board, if I recall correctly, the board commission has the same authority to, you can choose to take it up or not.
Has anybody followed up with Mr. Williams to let him know? Do you know if Tracy called and let him know how the P and Z?
I do not know. I have no idea. She'd have to answer that.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're not to the discussion.
And that's fine. I mean, we can get there if you want. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close before bringing it back before the board. Gentlemen?
If I may ask, that the dissenting votes, what was the reason for that?
Well, the dissenting vote, the best that I can tell, one was that if they don't show up, then they didn't believe that it should be taken up. And the other one just didn't believe that it should be an R1 in that particular zone according to the comp plan.
Okay. All right.
Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I don't really know another way to state this, so then I'll make a motion to deny because of lack of interest on the part of the applicant.
I think that's correct.
Is that?
Yes, sir, I think that's right. I think that's, yeah.
I think that we have done that in the past in these meetings.
Right, I'm looking for the amendment and I can't find it, but if I remember correctly, it basically says that that's the risk an applicant takes by not showing up, is that the board may choose to deny it. Yes. So you look.
I have a motion by Commissioner Adams, second by Commissioner Doster, and I'll enter into discussion, and I will respect that, Commissioner Adams and Doster's recommendation for the fact that I do think this one was going to have questions, and because there's nobody here to answer those, I feel like my personal, as I don't get the vote, is the correct motion. Now, any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Doster.
For the motion to deny, yes.
Motion to deny, yes.
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 Yeah.
Good.
Good job, gentlemen.
Okay, number 4, Kelly Slater is requesting to rezone his 10.3 acres from A1 to AR to allow the property to split into 2 5.15 acre tracts to give his 2 children for home sites. The property is located on 0 Wildcat Ridge Road in Lawson, map 88, parcel 21, district 4. The public hearing, there was nobody came forward for or against this particular rezone request. The planning and zoning voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Slayton?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Anything you'd like to add to that, sir, or are you comfortable with that?
That's pretty much it, but I'll be glad to answer any questions somebody's got any.
Thank you, sir. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve as requested.
Motion by Commissioner Kurt, second by Commissioner Adams. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I guess for the purposes of clarity, in the application, it states that requests for commercial purposes running on state highway will require a letter from the DOT. I'm just, maybe it's a point of order, maybe it's a clarification, but in the future, then all state highways have to get permission from the DOT regardless of the use? On the front page of the application, it's typed down at the bottom, it says request for commercial fronting on state highway. without a letter of approval. I mean, I think that's,
Yeah.
they'd have to get a special permit to build a driveway.
They would if it was gonna be commercial, it's just the only reason I'm.
I think. But, and it may be the wrong appropriate place to interject that, but it jumped out at me when I was reading through some of these, so maybe not to delay this part of it, but maybe just ask staff to look at that from an application standpoint, for clarification in the future.
So, Mr. Slayton, what he's saying is you're gonna need to check with DOT before you install it here.
The driveways come off of Norman Dove Road.
Oh,
They don't come off to it anymore.
to both parcels?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's side road frontage, I'm not denying that, I'm just, from the application standpoint, it just seems like we're interjecting a purpose in here that may not be there. My comment is, I think all applications, regardless, or development applications, building permits, whatnot, if it's on a state highway, and they're doing work in the state road right away, you're gonna need to coordinate with DOT.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Adams?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, Brian Whitley, applicant for Francis Wolford Estate, requested to rezone 6.84 acres from A1 to AR to split 2 acre portions to sell and be absorbed into the adjoining property and to bring the property in compliance with the zoning regulations. The property is located at 2895 Friendship Church Road in Danielsville, map 38, parcel 31, District 2. During the public hearing, no one came forward for, no one came forward against this particular rezone request. The planning and zoning voted 6-0 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Whitley?
Chairman, would it be necessary or prudent for us to do 5 and 6 at the same time, involving the same parcel, 2 portions of the same parcel? And both of them are gonna have to fly for it to
I would agree. Mr. Scott, if you don't mind, go ahead and read number 6 because they do tie together.
Okay. Didn't we have that discussion and you said you thought they ought to be separate?
Well, I think y'all did it, I'm not sure I opined. I think the law, what little there is on that point, says that the applicant wants them considered together. So Mr. Whitley is the applicant on both, so if he's here and consents to that, we can do one.
My thinking on that was, if we approve the first one and do not approve the second one, then you can't join an AR to an A1.
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
That's fine.
Okay,
Just go ahead and read off number 6 and then
Sure.
we'll take them all up in one motion.
Brian Whitley, applicant for Jesse Keel, is requesting to rezone his 5 acres from A1 to AR to allow 2 acre portion to absorb from adjoining property for a total of 7 acres and to bring the property in compliance with the zoning regulations. The property is located at 2771 Friendship Church Road in Danielsville, map 38, parcel 31B in District 2. During the public hearing, either or both, no one came forward in favor of or no one came forward in opposition to. The planning and zoning voted 6-0 to recommend approval of both these applications.
Thank you, sir. So in anyone here speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, on Monday, we will take items 5 and 6 up in one motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that these rezone requests for items 5 and 6 be approved as presented with the condition that the partial split be conducted as shown.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Chandler. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Kirk. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Actually,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
item number 7, sir.
Brown Beard and Darrell Beard, is requesting to a dual rezone of their 7.56 acres from A2 to R1/AR.
Is a document created and used by a person to present their background.
I do apologize.
It's your snow alert, sir, it's okay.
Oh, that's what that is. Why I keep with that? Okay, they're requesting to rezone an approximate 1.75 acre portion from A2 to R1 to split for inheritance purposes, and are requesting to rezone the remaining 5.81 acres from A2 to AR to bring the property in compliance with zoning regulations to retain. The property is located at 858 Black Creek Church Road in Danielsville, and map 10, parcel 131 in District 1. So the public hearing, no one came forward to speak for or against this particular rezone request. The planning and zoning voted 5-1 to recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Do you recall what the one was, just by chance?
Yes, sir. The member did not believe that it, according to the comprehensive plan, that R1 should be in that particular area.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Beard, you good with that presentation, or?
I think that pretty well sums it up. It's the parcel of land that I grew up on. My dad died in 2022. We're attempting to separate that out so that the old house and part of that will go to my brother Darren, who lives over in South Carolina. So it's not a primary residence. It's just we want to keep it in the family. And then the remaining portion of the land would be mine. My oldest brother lives next door. I know R1 is not what that particular area is zoned, but if you look around it, if you've been over there, you know it's not as out of the ordinary as you think. Directly across the street, there's a duplex, triplex rental house and a larger house all on the same property that the swim zones, and those have been there for quite some time. If you go up Black's Creek from somewhere around Wesley Chapel all the way up to probably Smallwood Hills, there's nothing agricultural on that side of the road at all. The only parcel of land that's really agricultural still at this point is Gary Burdett's old place there across the road, just a little ways up. So we're just trying to split that up for inheritance and be done with that.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone here speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
I would make a motion to approve the request with the condition that the property not be divided further. That, in a sense, would be maintaining the rural characteristic of the area rather than see you back renting in 2 years to split it again.
It's not going anywhere. We're all that's left.
I understand. All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Adams. Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner May. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none?
Sorry. One thing, I do agree with the concern of the negative vote from P and Z. That's I get heartburn for R1s out of those areas. I concede this, but obviously we've pinned it against it's one. It's one that cannot rehab. It's not talking about a multiple. So that helps me out. I do concerned about R1s.
All right. Any other discussion, gentlemen? On you, Commissioner May.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Number 8, Paul and Diane Henry are requesting to rezone their 0.75 acres from AR to R1 to allow the absorption of property from adjoining parcels 0027/063 and 000/027/63-02 to enlarge the tract to 1.53 acres to include an existing shop from the adjoining property. The property is located at 101 Hanley Road in Hull, map 27, parcel 64, in District 1. Public hearing, no one came forward for or against this particular rezone request. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. or Ms. Hanlon, is there anything you'd like to add to that, young lady? Are you comfortable with that presentation?
No, he said everything. We just want to get the shop where Paul, the land where Paul's shop is at, to join our land.
All right, thank you so much. Anyone here to speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would suggest we look at 8, 9, and 10 together, because the properties are all, I mean, it's the same situation that we had before. That would be acceptable to the board. If anyone, said that the plots are all, the parcels are all.
Oh, okay.
They're just moving property lines internally with those 3 parcels. It's an estate. The brother and the sister both live behind the mother's home. They had it rezoned before, and we did some property lines. It just doesn't work. So we worked together with Ms. Patrick and some other staff to wiggle those lines around to meet everybody's needs. So it does make sense to do all 3 together.
I would agree. For the record, Mr. Scott, if you don't mind, go ahead and read number 9 and number 10, and we'll take those all up in one motion, considering this is one massive parcel that we're realigning.
The Planning and Zoning did take up 9 and 10 together.
Okay.
But we did take up number 8 separate. That's fine. Not a problem. Agenda items 9 and 10, like I said, they will take it up in one vote. Diane Hanley, applicant for Coral Hanley Estate, is requesting to rezone the 2-acre parcel from R1 with the Board of Commissioners conditions limiting the minimum acreage to 2 acres to R1 without conditions to allow the minimum lot size to be 1.75 acres. The property is located at 181 Hanley Road, map 27, parcel 63 in District 1. Diane Hanley, applicant for Coral Hanley Estate, is requested to rezone the 2-acre parcel from R1 with the Board of Commissioners conditions limiting the minimum acreage to 2 acres from R1 without the conditions to allow the minimum lot size to be 1.5 acres. The property is located at 695 William Wilson Road, Hull, map 27, parcel 6302 in District 1. These have been before you before, as I read, and there were conditions. They're asking for the conditions to be removed. So, during the public hearing for all 3 of these, no one came forward in favor, no one came forward in opposition. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommends to the Board of Commissioners by votes of 6-0 for approval.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hanley, are you okay with us taking this up in one vote? All right. With that being said, I'm still going to open the floor for items number 9 and 10. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition of these 2 rezone requests? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of these 2 rezone requests? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, board. I would entertain a motion on taking up items 8, 9, and 10 in one motion.
I make a motion that we approve 8, 9, and 10 as stated.
Motion by Commissioner Adams. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner May.
Except with the condition that will conform to the site plan presented.
Yes.
All right. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner Kirk?
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries.
Good job, by the way, guys.
All right, so the last one for the evening, number 11, Charles H. Hart, applicant for Charles H. Hart Farm LLC. Louis Hart is requesting to rezone an approximate 4 to 5 acre portion of the 145.25 acre from A1 to AR to allow it to be split and gifted to this daughter. The remaining acres will stay in A1 zone to retain. The property is located at 0 Cobbett Grove Church Road in Cobbett on map 56, parcel 134, District 2. From the public hearing, there was no one came forward to speak for or against this rezone request. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval to the Board of Commissioners.
So 1 through 10 went off without a hitch. Now we got Mr. Hart. I'm just kidding, sir, just kidding.
I'll throw one back at you in just a few minutes.
It ain't on my agenda, so don't worry. Anyone here, Mr. Hart, are you comfortable with that presentation? All right. Anyone here speak in favor of this rezone request? Anyone here speak in opposition to this rezone request? Hearing none, we'll close the floor, bring it back before the board. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move this rezone request be approved as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Chandler. Second by Commissioner Doster. Any discussion, gentlemen? Hearing none, Commissioner Doster.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Motion carries.
Now, may I throw one back at you?
Go right ahead.
If you remember back, this property was in one piece as far as the county is concerned. It's in, when we dug it all up to present this stuff to you, there was 2 separate plats. I now have 2 separate parcels. They forced me to do 2 separate parcels so that I could get this done. I bet there's hundreds and hundreds of these type of parcels across this county. And this is probably not the night to delve into it. It's something to put on your radar that needs to be addressed. Because now it's up for, my coop is up. I've got to go and reapply this year. Now I've got to do 2 instead of 1.
2 codes instead of 1. The good part was it was up at, now you were at the up, so you didn't have to breach it, thank goodness.
Yep.
That's the only plus in
Kind of
it.
planned that as well.
Yeah, that was the only plus thing, but
So just
congratulations.
put that on y'all's radar so that something might be addressed that somewhere down the road.
There's several similar situations. I mentioned this to Robin some time ago, but in a scenario, personally for us, we drew a plat off for mortgage purposes. It was satisfied the mortgage, that plat is still on record. But if you look at it, we showed one large parcel. There was a portion of it that was cut off for mortgage purposes many years ago. And once it's satisfied, we'll have a mechanism to put that back as part of the parent parcel in those cases.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can do a recombination plan.
Yeah, but as far as just mechanically happen or automatically happen. But it
Well, it
doesn't,
can't automatically happen.
but depending on where you look in county records, it may or may not show. Nothing happened to reattach it, but it still shows as one parent.
That should not be the case, and I have said that for 25 years, but no one cares. At least not in the tax assessor's
No,
office.
actually, I've got the same situation.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it because a mortgage has been paid off.
It doesn't matter, it's a parcel of record, so it's a separate parcel of record. Somebody could make you a really nice offer on that tomorrow, and you could sell it to them.
Yeah.
And nobody
Even if
here
it is
would,
not conforming.
and nobody here would have to take any action.
Right.
That gives it greater value.
Right.
So if you want it combined, you need to go through the process that's in code to combine it.
Yeah. Which would have to be initiated by the owner. It could not be initiated by the board.
Right, yeah, I mean, yes, you can do a combination plan, sure.
Absolutely. I was just confirming what Charles said. That is out there, and it is really problematic.
And unfortunately, we only see it when they come up. Like it may be another 2 years before we hear of another one.
It may be decades.
Yeah, who knows? but it seems like that's how we find our problems also.
That's the only reason I brought it up.
It's not a problem, you know you're getting a tax break, but the law does not allow it. Because the tax assessor's office is breaking the law by combining that without anything of the real estate records to show it being combined. So that's to your advantage. It's to the county's disadvantage, and it's illegal.
And it becomes a disadvantage to the county, like the situation we got through with the properties in Pioli. They were pre-existing, so then we had to abide by what was pre-existing, even although they were
Correct, and
considered.
they should have been taxed all those years,
That's
but the tax assessor's office didn't do it. It's exactly the same situation.
Charles, what he's referring to, is Pioli Junction, the big tract of land.
That was
Yeah, it was divided in 1984, but then they recom back together so they could get the tax break, and then when they decided they wanted to sell them out in 10-acre lots, legally, we couldn't stop them because they had it done in 1984. So it was a win-win for them, bad for anybody else.
Also couldn't assess the tax that was illegally not assessed before because statute of limitations is very short on that.
And I'm sure I could have done it myself by going by and getting a whole new survey, but that's it. Montero, that didn't make any sense. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Old business, there is none. New business, discuss beer and wine license for La Cabana and Family Dollar. This is just informational, we can't vote tonight, it has to be done in a board meeting. But as of right now, those two particular places are still not in compliance with the state, so we cannot move forward. Hopefully before our actual business meeting, they will have fulfilled the state's requirements, so therefore we can do our job and vote on it in the business meeting. Is anything I'm missing on that one, Christina? Because you're looking like I might have missed something.
They just missed our deadlines for the renewal at the end of the year. So we went above and beyond to reach out to both of them, Family Dollar. They had some turnover in corporate. We finally got them on board. They're doing what they're supposed to. La Cabana is a different situation. So we'll vote at the end of the month. But as of right now, neither one of those stores or restaurant is allowed to serve or sell alcohol on their part.
Consider appointing Caden McCain to the Rec Advisory Board as a District 3 representative. This is just for you to consider. This is not for a vote. As a matter of fact, it is for a vote? All right. The Rec Board meeting was supposed to be tomorrow night. They were going to have a meeting. Holly come in today and said something about Shelley being out of town. They were going to send out the email to invite her to come to the meeting anyway, even though nobody really knew anything about it. I don't know. But that's fine. Gentlemen, I entertain a motion to appoint Caden McCain to the Rec Advisory Board as District 3 representative.
I make a motion to appoint Katie to the Rec Board.
Second motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner May, second by Commissioner Chandler. Any discussion, gentlemen?
She's going to do a great job. She's very passionate about the Rec Park and a parent and a lifelong member of this county, and she's really going to do well.
He certainly has presented some insightful information to us.
You know, gentlemen, I looked at that, and unfortunately, I was out of town when she presented that, and it was actually my loss, because I heard it was a very good presentation, and she did bring some things to light. So I hope, being on the inside, being on that Rec Board, some of our issues may resolve themselves from that standpoint. But anyway, super excited about that. Good job. I have a motion and a second. And Commissioner Adams? Yes. Urgent matters.
Yes, I have two things. First, Denny reminded me, I don't think that the board voted on the vice chair for this board. So we need to do that. And then I'll move on to the second one next.
All right.
Move we appoint Commissioner Dawson to continue his role as vice chair.
Second.
Train coming down the track.
If you could have spoke up first and said anybody but me, I mean, you know.
I'm just glad they acknowledged the brilliance. I mean, thank you for the vote,
Yeah. All right, so do I have a motion?
You the engineer, you can drive the train.
So I have a motion, I guess I'll make that in a form of motion, Commissioner Chandler, and that was a second by Commissioner Adams.
That's second.
Oh, it's who?
By me, but.
Okay, second by Commissioner Kurt. All in favor, gentlemen, starting with Commissioner Chandler.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All righty. Go ahead.
My second request is to have an official board vote to move forward with posting the advertisements for the public hearing requirements for House Bill 581. I think that might be the best option for the board. One, I know you have not made your decision yet. I know we've got to meet with the cities and there's lots of discussion still, but with those deadlines, we don't have much time to plan those, and I want to be sure you have that option for when that time comes, if we want to have a board vote, so I can move forward with that.
What are the guidelines for the advertising? They have to be a certain period of time prior to the vote, or what are those requirements?
I read through those this afternoon. I didn't see that I didn't see the requirement on how soon the public hearing is before the vote, but there's advertisements that you have to have 3 public hearings, 1 in the morning and 1 has to be between 6 and 7 in the afternoon. The ad has to run 7 days prior to the public hearing. He's pulling it up. We got an email today. So there's some time frames, and then I think you can't run 2 ads within the same week for 2 different meetings. So you've got to space it out so often, and that's the advertising requirement that I just want to be sure that we meet.
Normally, we've had some budget hearings, we'll have 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, take care of 2 of them.
Yeah.
This one, you can't do that. This one, you gotta wait a week or 2 in between.
I think, yeah.
That's why they said it, I want to say it was in November. They said, be aware come December, you're gonna have 61 days prior
There's 5 or 6.
and in and out, and you better get after it on your advertisements.
There's 5 or 6 requirements for the advertisement you have to meet.
It's pretty convoluted.
I would.
And it's not in here, but I think you need a quorum here. You need to make sure you got a quorum for all of those,
For those public hearings.
for those 3 public hearings. Yeah.
I would be, we need to make a motion on this. Yeah. I would make a motion that we proceed with posting the hearing. But also I have reservations about this BOC posting position or our position on the thing prior to the hearing.
So the form of the ad is in the law itself, in House Bill 581. It's titled Intent to Opt Out of Homestead Exemption. The name of governing authority intends to opt out. So there's no way to preserve your option without putting that language in the newspaper. That does not mean you're bound to follow through on that.
Well, there's the double column that was next to it that I want this group to avoid until the public has the opportunity to speak. That's what has caused a great deal of confusion in this county about that, because poured out the gas and threw the match and then walked away.
So would you like for me to type up something to give the newspaper that says, obviously not verbatimly, but the BOC has no firm opinion for or against, but we're holding public hearings to hear from the public. Please come and voice your concerns, or just nothing, just the legal ad?
Well, you have to do a press release anyway.
Yes.
And you could, I would stay away from language that looks like you're contradicting what the ad says.
Right.
But to point out that the whole purpose of these public hearings is to get public input, and the board vote is not predetermined.
Okay.
That would be fine.
Yeah. No, that's what I, very eloquently.
That's really, your law school, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm a plumber, he's an attorney.
And I apologize that I went into that in the chairman's report. I didn't know that was coming up urgent matters. I would have just waited. But that was the whole intent, was to buy us a few more weeks of time to hear input from the people, because we didn't move on out of time. That's really what this is about. It's just to buy us some time so we can hear from folks. But anyway, all right, thank you. I need a motion on that. I've got Commissioner Adams. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Doster. Any discussion, gentlemen? Commissioner May?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. All right, thank you. I don't know how it failed, but everybody that seconded the motion tonight was the one I had to start off with, by the way. Every one of them. Executive session to discuss real estate acquisitions, personal matters, potential litigations.
No, sir.
With that being said, have we had an update, from Mr. Mitchell? Have you heard anything?
I have not.
No worries, it was just asked of me before the meeting. With that being said, Commissioner Doster.
Move in here.
Thank you. Great job tonight, guys. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all for coming. Somebody got questions? Anybody got a question? Y'all in the back row, you better watch who's in between y'all back here.
Yeah.
We're back up.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Have a good night.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, I think it's more like, thinking, you know, I didn't eat anything yesterday, so I want to eat everything.
I'm impressed. Good job, guys. Especially those two catches about taking them up at one time. Might be safe. You get snowed in, you need milk, just call us, somebody this can have all of them.
Yeah, real tiny, it's got like
Probably-
one root. You
it's
can
probably
pull
walking.
it, pull the root in the middle and pull the whole thing up. Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Vice Chairman,
You know, I think about my motorcycle, I don't know why. It's your wife. Boy, I have ruined one. So, that room came from there for a while, but apparently I just wore it all out. This tank was so weird, you can't get it all out. I don't know why. It was just one on the